What I think makes his perspective so powerful is he's not just thinking about his own future, he's thinking about the next generation.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your no-fluff guide to artificial intelligence in higher ed. I'm Mallory Willsea, bringing nearly 20 years of edtech and marketing expertise straight to your earbuds. Higher ed leaders are expected to master AI overnight, but let's be real, no one has time to sift through every headline, hot take, or research report. That's why every Monday, I'll break down what actually matters, fast, clear, and to the point. Want to sound like the smartest person in the room at your next team meeting? You're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Higher Ed Pulse. On today's episode, if you think students are just using AI to write papers, think again. T.Y. Stone is a senior at Augustana College who's building marketing campaigns for the NFL, co-hosting on student radio, and dreaming up a nonprofit called CoBlack to teach coding and design to at-risk youth. He's here to talk about how he uses AI and why he believes it belongs in every middle and high school classroom. T.Y., welcome to the Pulse.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity. How are you?
I am doing great. You know, we just met a few weeks ago in Grand Rapids at the Digital Collegium Annual Conference, which is so interesting. I know a lot of listeners are familiar with that event, and we don't usually go there to meet students, yet there you were and a whole cohort from your college. So how did that happen? How did you get that opportunity?
Yeah, we want to thank Doug and Andy. They are directors of our EDGE program, the Entrepreneurial Development Through Guided Experiences. It's kind of like a mouthful. Okay, so actually it was conveniently close. So let's just get that out of the way. It was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah, we are in the Quad Cities near Iowa. So the drive was pretty cool to do. But I think last year it was in Philly or maybe somewhere else. And that takes a plane. So that's more resources. So we had the opportunity to bring myself and 7 others from this program within Augustana College, and it was life-changing. Definitely.
Wow. So you were attending the conference, is that right? You just got to go to sessions and network and learn. What was your golden nugget from Digital Collegium?
So I was actually a track chair for the digital strategy and content track. So it wasn't just all networking and kind of relaxing, being able to moderate chats and listen to different people's perspective and guide the online users, questioning. It was awesome. And just learning from these different people about new tools to be able to use, new websites, new ways to be able to network, making sure that the students get to your institution was like the supreme thing I kind of recognized there. And it was really cool to see because I'm a non-traditional student. And back when I first started school in 2007, none of these resources existed in streamlining and making things accessible as far as information and how to navigate websites as far as school institutional websites are concerned. That was huge. And I didn't even know companies dedicated full companies to these efforts.
That's awesome. Well, y'all, there's a lot to talk about right now in terms of how students might use AI, but TY is living proof of how they actually are using it. And he's using it to write smarter, create faster, and collaborate better while still questioning what it means to stay authentic in the process. But what I think makes his perspective so powerful is he's not just thinking about his own future. He's thinking about the next generation. TY believes AI literacy should start in middle and high school, especially for students who are underrepresented in the tech industry. Through his idea for a nonprofit called CoBlack, he wants to teach at-risk youth coding and design and give them the tools to help shape, not just survive in this next AI era. So today, TY and I are going to dive into how he's actually using AI in his daily life, what he wants to see from colleges and brands in their uses of AI, and why representation in AI isn't just about fairness, it's about building that smarter and more honest future. So, TY, walk me through a real day for you. Like, where does AI show up in your classes, in the administration of your life, in your side projects? Like, where are you already seeing AI integrate?
Well, it's just to basically take you through a normal day. AI starts when I wake up because I have email checking to do. And there are some emails that are they are just ridiculous. So I use them to organize my emails in a way where I can summarize them and, compartmentalize them in ways where, without it, I just sit there spending so much time reading through these manually. And, so even just waking up and checking through emails, as far as school is concerned, AI really helps me structure my thinking and organize my thinking in a way that's conducive to my learning. When I first started school in 2007, none of these tools exist. I struggled and I eventually was put on academic probation. And then I was eventually kicked out until I could pay off the amount of balance that I owe. So now coming back to school in my 30s with all of these amazing AI tools, whether so I am all things generative AI. Let's get that out the way. I love all things generative AI because they are just, because they are so easy to use, right? Well, I feel that, and I know that I'm kind of jumping ahead of it, but I feel that ChatGPT should not only be used in schools, but it should be taught as a curriculum, how to use it, and how to fix it, basically. I feel that, so for my regular academic usage, it's really kind of like shamed. It's really shamed in an academic setting where it's like, don't use ChatGPT, learn it. And then you could, so I really feel that this culture of like shaming ChatGPT instead of embracing it and also teaching the young how to use it. I say this jokingly, but ChatGPT is not for people that are not smart enough to use ChatGPT. Okay. And I say that jokingly because ChatGPTs are confident liars. They will come up from your prompt, come up with an idea that they think is right. And then they'll confidently convince you that this information is right. So if you're not actually researching and cross-checking the information that these ChatGPTs or the generative AIs are presenting, you're gonna have a problem. So for me, using ChatGPT to help me structure my thoughts, whether it's for writing a paper, writing a speech, whether it's to help me be able to be a better project manager, ChatGPT shows up in all facets. So look, I want to talk to you about this app, Poe, Poe, right? It has every ChatGPT, every type of generative AI that you would want. So if you need a Perplexity versus a Claude, whether you need a ChatGPT versus something that they have it's hundreds of these ChatGPT bots that you can pick from, that if I don't need to be so strategic and I need something quick, I can just go in there and find, whether it's for business, whether it's for personal, cooking, working out. So I use ChatGPT in such a wide variety of ranges where it's like, it's a way for me to structure my thoughts, be more timely, because I am terrible with time. And these ChatGPTs enable me personally, and I will tell you other students as well, to be able to come up with ideas that they naturally wouldn't come up with in order to present a better argument when we're presenting our work.
Yeah, are you, when you're in that space right before the presentation, but maybe you've got, your content 90% of the way there, are you dropping that information into a GPT and asking it to poke some holes and, kind of help you anticipate some of the things that maybe you weren't thinking of?
So I argue with my ChatGPTs a lot. Like, I know it may sound crazy, but I go back, I introduce, hey, how are you doing today? They want to get straight to the point. So I try to build some type of background momentum up as far as our conversation is concerned. And then, yes, I do drop that in to ask them, hey, poke holes, see where I can improve, see what's better. Is there any more pieces of information out there that could solidify the ideas that I'm coming up with? But as a final project, I am so against using ChatGPT as a final project because, again, what you learned, intelligence take the ability to understand what you've learned and come up with something new or add it to a newer concept. And ChatGPT won't do that. And when you're around these professors that for months at a time, they know how you talk, they know your behaviors. So when you present something like that, not only do you discredit yourself, you don't learn anything. There's really nothing beneficial from taking it that way. But when I am at a point where I either can't, first of all, I use it in the beginning of my thinking process, the middle of my thinking process, and the end, because there's so much data that is changed over time that you just kind of have to continue to implement it and just add your own thing, your own research, your own personal experiences to what is, suggesting that AI is popping up for you with.
Yeah, I think it's really important that, you are emphasizing the importance around subject matter expertise when you're utilizing these tools. Like we have to remember to keep thinking critically. We know AI hallucinates. We know ChatGPT is going to make you feel like the smartest person in the room, regardless. But yeah, it is so imperative to be bringing the knowledge that you're learning into your interactions. Slight shift here. I'm really curious, do you pay for any AI tools or are you using the free versions?
So I'm poor. I use the free versions, but because now I would say this, I do believe it is a great investment to put some money into a ChatGPT that you can use whenever you want to. I wholeheartedly believe that. But the way they have ChatGPTs, and I know I'm harping on a ChatGPT as far as the generative AIs are concerned, but that's the most common one.
It's the Kleenex of tissues. Yeah, it's Kleenex to tissues is ChatGPT to AI. I'm with you.
Okay, so I do believe that it is a good investment, but for myself personally, and the way everything is kind of set up, no, I use the free versions, and there are so many different versions that you can use that it just kind of works. It's just beneficial for me right now to focus on the free versions. But if I could pay for one, it would be Poe, Poe for sure.
Poe. I have not heard of that. And so I've got it written down. I bet a lot of listeners now do too. Let's talk CoBlack. So what is this nonprofit that you are dreaming up of? Where did this idea come from? And it's got to be filling a gap that you're seeing out there. So yeah, talk to us about that, TY.
So I did a paper in 2021, 2022 on the digital divide. And with doing this research, so when I did this paper, I was in a legal situation where I didn't have any access to computers. I didn't even know what a ChatGPT was at the time. So I was doing some really good secondary research as far as looking through text, looking through articles. And the information that I found on the digital divide and how that affects low-income communities. It affects them economically. It affects them scholarly. And it affects them socially as well. So I feel that I felt the trend maybe 2023, where there was this shame around this amazing tool that you could use, but academically, they didn't kind of want you to use it. And I felt that was dangerous because the younger people, there is data that suggests that kids as young as in the 6th and 4th grade are using ChatGPT to do their homework. So the reason why I wanted to create CoBlack, which its mission is to teach at-risk youth how to code and do graphic design. The reason is because those particular fields of study aren't really focused in low-income communities. I'm from Chicago. I can tell you the Chicago public school system does not integrate AI into its curriculum. It does not teach you First of all, people that look like me, we're not pushed into AI. We're not pushed into tech. We're not pushed into coding. We're underrepresented. And the way that the trends are going, by 2030, a lot of these jobs won't even exist. There was a study done that said 30% of the jobs that Black people are in have a 75% automated rate, which means they can be replaced by AI. So what my goal is to teach young at-risk individuals how to do coding and do graphic design in order for them to be able to learn how to work AI, learn how to use or fix AI, because that's where we're going. And if the schools are saying, hey, stay away from ChatGPT, you're now pushing them away from a tool that will allow them to be successful in the future. So I want to create a nonprofit that helps young people learn how to code and do graphic design so they can survive in this up and coming world that is being transformed and developed by AI.
I love this. And, like, I got to ask, what is your mindset of graduating? Like, you're a senior, and I've seen a lot of these studies too. And some of the headlines that have stuck with me are that over the next X number of years, X being anywhere from like 1 to 5, depending on which study you read, entry-level jobs are being, are predicted to like just evaporate, especially in certain industries. So we'll get back to CoBlack, but like for you and yourself, just staring at graduation right in front of you, like how are you and your classmates kind of handling that?
It's, I guess we're kind of all over the spectrum from nervous to excited, So for me personally, I guess I'm in the middle. I'm kind of neutral. I'm really ready for it to happen so that work opportunities can happen for me because a lot of the work opportunities that I'm looking for now kind of coincide with my school schedule. So I'm really just kind of looking to get school over with. I am super burned out.
You're ready for what's next. Like, please,
Yes.
you need the time to devote to CoBlack here. Like, you're ready to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. So, okay. So if you were designing like this curriculum for CoBlack, what would you include in it? Of course, AI education and literacy is part of that, but like, have you really thought about like what that curriculum would look like?
Yeah, starting off with basic coding, I feel like in order for them to grasp fully what AI is, we need to learn how it works, right? So if we can teach some basic coding on how to do front end work, back end work, I think that foundation will lead them into interest in other fields as far as AI or tech is concerned. And then graphic design. Graphic design, I feel like will be a tool that if you know some coding, you kind of need to know some graphic design. It's really good for work. I guess preferences is concerned. They would want you to have a little bit of both of those skill sets. And why not learn them? Because if you can then create or tap into their creativity, that can inspire them to then move on to their own projects or being able to work with nonprofits. I don't know. I just feel there's a lot of opportunity here.
Absolutely. And certainly with the ultimate goal of being able to uplift these at-risk, underrepresented youth. That's really incredible, TY. Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the brands and the companies that you are seeing utilize AI. Maybe it's even your own college, or maybe it's your favorite brand where you get your sneakers from. But do you see any good use cases out there? It's like anyone actually doing this pretty well in your opinion?
I mean, chatbots, right? I think chatbots are the most when you go to a brand or company's design that they're using for their website, I think chatbots are the most useful thing that I've come across. There is a lot of back-end things that are being implemented, extensions and whatnot, that I'm not really 110 billion% sure how they are implementing them. But things like chatbots that I know that will give you the ability to talk to a chatbot to answer facts, right? Frequently asked questions. So let me give you an example. Last year with the AAF, the American Advertising Federation that we are participating in, this PICS competition, AT&T was our client. Okay. So AT&T, you see their commercials that obviously it pertains to a specific audience initially. And then you can see the graphic generators that have been used, like that's the chat box and the generative image AI are the most common ones that I see. And I don't too much care for the generative image creators. I don't too much care for them. I don't too much care for AI talking to me. When we're writing something, I feel more comfortable with it. But as far as like the imagery, as far as the visuals, it as a consumer, as somebody that's into marketing, I just personally don't. I personally don't like it.
If you were, say, using your college's AI chatbot for, some task or something that you needed to get done, is there a line that exists between helpful and creepy for you in those responses? Like, is there anything that you would come at you and you'd be like, oh, too much chatbot?
Again, the voice, and so ChatGPT can't even capture my voice or tone. So it just feels weird to just hear it or just see some type of imagery behind it. Now, if it's written, I can accept it way better because I can then go and digest it. But if I hear it from ChatGPT, I'm automatically gonna say, "Hey, this is void. This is there's no belief inside of me on what this is being presented to me."
Yeah. If brands started like disclosing like on content, anything from an email all the way to some interaction on a website or anything in between, like if there was this disclosure of this message was AI assisted, would that mean anything to you positively or negatively, or would it change any of your behaviors?
So in our school culture, it's kind of like they have pushed shaming. And I don't think it's just my higher ed institution. I think that it's across the board, but I can only personally speak about my own. They don't like the ChatGPT. So when I see something has been generatively created by a ChatGPT or AI assistant, there is something inside of me that does say, well, the authenticity isn't as strong because it's been beat to me like, hey, no, do it yourself first and then, move into other avenues. So when I do see it, it does create a cause to pause. Yeah, it does.
Interesting. Yeah. Are you presenting your AI skill sets, to potential employers as you're on this job hunt for post-graduation?
Yes, whenever I have an opportunity to, yes, I do. The issue hasn't been skill set. I think that if I've ever just given the opportunity to be able to talk to people and just kind of express myself, I think I have a shot. But because people look at so many other outside factors before they look to give me a shot, I never have that opportunity to kind of express what skill set that I have.
Well, get ready for all the fame and fortune that comes with being on the Higher Ed Pulse podcast, T-Wine. So I know you're at the end of your college journey, but if you put yourself back in the mindset, back in 2006 or 7 when you were starting to explore schools, or throughout, the last X number of years, there's a big debate going on in higher ed right now around whether or not AI should be playing a role in admission decisions for students, financial aid decisions for students, both prospective and current. What should the role be? Should there even be a role? Should it be disclosed if there is? I mean, these are the kinds of conversations that like VPs of enrollment marketing and financial aid are like really wrestling with right now. And I'm just curious for your take on it.
I'm 50-50, right? On the one hand, it would be super cool to use it because it can streamline work. It can make the process a lot more faster. But on the bad side, if that AI is if it's not genuine, if the information isn't true, unbiased, then the issue starts to become that they might, the algorithm might only focus on the middle part of the information. And then now they're only getting X amount of students that are of a specific demographic, right? So I am not, I just like ChatGPT. I'm not so sure on being able to use these AIs to be able to, because jobs do it. Jobs are doing it right now. And personally, I feel, and I understand why, but jobs are doing it and it's bad. So to do something like that for higher ed students, I think it just needs some time.
Yeah. I was at a conference a little earlier this year, and I asked the room of professionals to stand up if they would allow not ChatGPT, but just like any AI, have complete control of their retirement account without oversight. There were people standing in the back of the room and they all kind of like squatted down in that moment. They were like, we are not standing for this. And I think it's that same sentiment there, right? It's like we trust generative AI and AI with being an advisor, helping us be better at our craft. But when it comes to those really big and emotional and financial decisions, it's like at least in October 2025, we are still feeling some hesitancy there. And it'll be interesting just to track culturally how that changes over time, I think. TY, we are, nearing the end of this podcast, and I am so grateful for you spending some time to record with me out of your busy student schedule. Any last plugs for CoBlack or anything that you are doing? Here's your shot.
Yeah, I'm just really looking for an opportunity to be able to work. Obviously, after work, after school, I am looking to get into entrepreneurship and get into being a nonprofit founder. But if I have an opportunity to do an internship, if I have an opportunity to do a job, I am super driven. I am super goal orientated. AI, anything AI, I am for. Anything marketing, which is my background. I love marketing. I really like telling people what I think they should do. So I kind of went to school to kind of learn how to do that. So, yeah.
Well, y'all, we will make sure that if you want to connect with TY yourself, we'll pop in the show notes a link to where you can shoot him a message. This was so much fun. I appreciate it. Serendipitously, we got to meet earlier this month, and then here we are doing this podcast. I am so grateful, and I look forward to CoBlack being so successful that you come back on the podcast one day, and we are talking about what amazing things you are doing and all the lives that you are changing. So open invite TY for when that day comes. Listeners, thanks for making it through. Don't forget to go rate or subscribe to this podcast if you're enjoying it. And we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Higher Ed Pulse. The show is a proud member of the Enrollify Network, home to Higher Ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow. So be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit Enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.